Hey everyone, this is pretty terrific, and I'm Chris.
Oh, hello, Chris. I'm Marie. How are you?
Good. And
Yeah,
we have
great.
another special guest again.
Yeah,
Special guest.
official third wheel, Dave Carr.
We should change his title. Official third wheel.
Yeah, I like that.
Huh. I like it too.
That
I
was
think it's
that was my college official title as well. Bringing it back.
did
yay.
did all of
What
your
a
friends have dates and you did not? Is that what was going on?
Yes, I was eternally single through all of high school and college. So
Nice.
because you enjoyed your lonesomeness.
no, because I was overweight and no one wanted to date me. But now we fixed that, so we're good. Oh, I put my ring on. See, I'm married.
Whoa! Why was it off?
Oh, I can't sleep with it. I always have to take it off at nighttime.
Interesting. What happens in your sleep with your ring?
I don't know. It's just
Annoying.
Okay.
yeah. It's like socks. Like you can't. It's like sleeping with socks on, right?
My husband sleeps with socks on every night, and I think it's like an abomination.
That makes
I
sense.
never see his feet. I have no idea what they look like.
Yeah, we were discussing that your husband doesn't have feet anymore ever since I guess
I'm
forever.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
And like whenever I see a man's foot, I'm scandalized. Like guys wearing sandals, I'm just like, my God. Ankle.
Your toes are so shapely. My goodness.
Oh my gosh. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yes, it's a bit much for me.
Yeah, and we're jumping in this week. We got like a hard cap of 40 minutes, and then we're done. So it's
We're so gonna do it.
totally gonna do it with
High intensity podcast.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's the only way to cast, I think.
You do it live,
Yeah.
man. You got to do it.
We do it live.
Got to be just
Do it fucking live. I want to talk about a thing.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Jump into it.
Yes. Okay, I kind of teased to Dave that you and I, Chris, have an activity that we often do. We share. So Chris and I, in addition to spending this time together on the podcast, have a weekly call of around 90 minutes ish, and that's when we are boo boo boo. And that's why we have this Positive Times podcast. But we're not always poo poo boo in the other times we talk. And one activity we really enjoy. Here it comes, Dave. Are you ready in your brain? Sometimes we'll like go on Google Street View and then like we'll look up like islands in the Pacific just like randomly and just like scroll around and look at it. And then we'll just walk around these islands and we're like, whoa. And we're like, oh, are you looking at this? And then we'll ask questions about like, I wonder where they get their lumber and what kind of resources are available to them on this island. And do they grow their own produce? And this week we found this Chris found this really cool island in the Midway Islands, the sand island, which in its native tongue is something else, and it means for Chris.
Yeah, it meant God, it was the loud din of birds.
Yes, and legit, this place, if you go Street View on it, it is covered in birds. It is so bizarre.
Yeah, it's like just
Anywho.
like thousands of albatrosses just all over the place.
Albatross, two types of albatross, some sort of rare duck, and then some other like two other birds. And it's just like you click a little bit ahead, you click a little bit ahead, birds and golf carts and bicycles.
Yeah.
So is it like the birds are okay, there's so many places I could take this conversation.
First, the activity. How do you feel about this activity?
Have I ever done that? No, at least not with Pacific Islands.
It's not always the Pacific.
Or I mean, I've like wandered around in Street View, and I know that there are. So plein air painting is like when you take your paints and easel just out in the world and you paint from life. But there's some people will do digital plein air, where they will go and do a street view, and then they'll do a painting of the street view.
It's like the least plein air you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's like plein air for people. Is it agoraphobia? Is that why you don't like to go outside?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to stop and say, is this how we're pronouncing plein air?
Plein air?
Okay, it's plain? Okay.
I mean, we've always said plain, but
Okay. You've been to art school, so you would know.
No, I haven't.
Oh, never mind. I thought you had.
But
Well,
like, I do know a lot of plein air painters though. But now that I think of it, I don't know that I've ever heard them actually say it. So maybe I
don't let her make you self-conscious about it with her
I would
fancy.
say en plein air, but okay.
She's got
cool.
fancy
I
like
don't know.
Texas learnings,
I
and
don't
like
know.
apparently in Texas they're
Yeah.
all fancy and think they're European, and they
don't
like to
don't
laugh
know.
at the way people say things. You know, like crowns.
Hey, 8 years of French. I don't know. But whatever. Crowns? Like on the head?
Like draw with crowns.
You do what with?
See, this happens all the time.
Anywho,
so other thing, there is a fantastic book that's adjacent to this subject called Sex Lives of Cannibals. Have you read it or heard of it?
No.
can't say I have.
It's written about a guy, like it's a real life story. The author was a struggling author, and his wife wanted to do like NGO health outreach stuff. So she went to one of these tiny, like single island nations for like 5 years, and he just like went along with her. And the book is just like his observations about like what life is like on these incredibly small, incredibly remote islands in the Pacific.
Oh.
Very funny.
Yeah.
I feel like we need
Yeah,
this,
I feel like I
Chris.
need to read that book because that's what we do. We just go around and
That's like our whole thing.
there's so many weird islands in the world, and if you just zoom around Google Maps, you're like, what is that? And then you zoom in and they're like, there's an airfield on this island, and like nothing but an airfield. How?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And birds.
Sex Lives of Cannibals. Very good. It's a very good book.
Yeah. Wow.
Apparently
Okay,
trash
we need that.
is an issue because like they ship food in and then they don't have the money to ship like the packaging out. So it's just like accumulates in giant heaps of just like aluminum cans and plastic packaging. And every now and again, they'll just like burn it.
That absolutely makes sense.
I think Chris and I have had this discussion, whether it was on a failed episode or not, about we just throw it in the volcano.
Well, if you're fortunate enough to live on an island with a volcano, sure, right?
Yes.
But we don't all have that luxury, Murray. Yeah.
We do not all have
And
that luxury.
I will say the is it eponymous? Is that the word of the like the cannibals that the title is talking about aren't the people, it's the dogs that live on the island. So they're not, the people aren't cannibals, it's the dogs.
The dogs eat each other?
Yeah, because there's just massive packs of feral dogs, like pets that were like left behind or like abandoned.
Damn.
Apparently they're like really, really smart and they're really scrappy, but also
Cannibals.
vicious. Yeah.
Oh man.
Am I gonna cry?
Yeah.
No.
It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, man.
Oh, hey, yo.
But no, that sounds fascinating because that's the stuff we're wondering. And we see these things where like, oh man, where's their power come from? Do they have power? And stuff like construction. It's like there's buildings, but like there's not a quarry. There's not
Where'd
a
the wood
grove,
come from?
right? They had to ship these things in.
Maybe that's how all the trees were gone. And then it's like, what kind of produce can you get there? What can they grow? I mean, then we'll like look around for like a farm. Yeah, we spend hours doing this.
Diesel generators. I think most of their power comes from diesel generators, and they grow spam.
Okay.
like yeah.
Spam's delicious. It's like a food of my people. So back off. It's good.
Hey, there's no value judgment placed in that. He said that.
Okay. I'm just saying. We do grow
I think
it
you have
on a
some
tree.
internalized distrust.
Possibly.
To that.
I'm just like, hey, I'm defensive.
There's some spam on your shoulder.
Yeah, no. Yes, spam is delicious. So yay. Okay, our activity does not sound that strange to you.
So Sex Lives of Cannibals, I gotta definitely look that up.
There's I believe there is a VR Google plugin where you can do essentially that, but in virtual reality too, and like look around.
Yeah, there's something like that on the Quest where you can just go to places and look around, and it's static, so it's not that exciting.
Yeah, there was a tool, bring it to games. There was, what was it called? On the Wii U, So very few people used it, but there was this app where you could Google Street View using the gamepad, and you would look around with the gamepad, and it was like you were there.
Oh, okay.
But it was it's one of those single purpose apps that no one used. But I used it for a couple hours, just like, what does it look like in Madrid? Oh my God, I'm in Madrid.
That's so cool. Speaking of the Wii U and gaming and things that happen, I want to run something by you that I think was pretty terrific. That was hilarious. That happened between me and Chris, and see if you think I'm a dick. Okay, here goes.
Okay.
One time for my birthday, because like Chris and I have this long-standing thing where he's a Nintendo fanboy. I don't know if he would describe himself that way, but that's my read.
I have no objection.
Okay, so he's a Nintendo fanboy, and we had this games podcast for a really long time, and I'd just be like, Xbox, PlayStation, stuff like that. And for one holiday, Chris sent me a Wii U as a present, which is nice. But I had recently acquired a discarded Wii U from a friend of mine. And so my plan was to exchange it for a PlayStation and send it back to Chris. Am I the asshole?
Oh, see, I forgot this happened.
So
this is
yeah.
Like I see the dilemma here. I guess it comes down to your intention. What is your intention?
Marie's or my intention?
Okay.
Yeah. No, Marie's. I mean, your intention was just to give her a nice Wii U because you enjoy Wii U.
To expose her to a library of games that she would not have access to otherwise, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sure, can that be mine too? Sure, that too. Play a PlayStation. But when I went to return it and exchange it, the lady misunderstood and just gave the money back to Chris. And so I was like, no, I wanted a PlayStation.
Well, here's the thing. For the record, I did, at least in that generation, we're talking about 360, PS3, Wii U. I have all of those. I got them all. That was the last generation I had them all.
Well, and so I would say, surely my intention was mostly what Chris's was, but also kind of like suck a dick, dumb shits.
Well, I think that's the answer to the question.
Yeah, I think you answered it right.
But in a fun, super fun way, because we're like very good friends, aren't we? I think that's super fun between friends.
We were.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We get up to some nonsense.
Have you ever gifted or been gifted as an adult, Dave, a game system?
No.
Yeah, it's not really a thing that happens a ton, right?
I'm not rich, nor are any of my friends rich, so
yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you. It was a very lovely thought,
very
and
nice.
most people were like, people were all like, "You're such a jerk."
See, I don't even remember like feeling a particular way about it. I think probably the biggest thing I feel right now is like, oh, Marie will never get to play Pikmin 3 as originally intended. Oh well.
I still have the Wii U.
Okay.
I have a Wii U, but I already had one.
Yeah.
So
right. You definitely don't need two.
Yes. I have the controller you sent as well, so thank you. I kept the controller.
Cool. I'm gonna pretend I remember sending those things, and that's great. Yes.
It was like 6 years ago or something like that. I appreciate it. It is a very lovely thought. I just thought it would be very funny if I sent you a PlayStation back. Anywho.
Wii U is the one. That's the one that I skipped. I kind of took a break from being interested in games, and it was kind of like around that era. Like, what are the can't miss Wii U games?
Well, I would say Pikmin 3 is one of my favorites of all time. Like, I love that one. But most of the other, including that one, they've been ported to the Switch. So back then it was like, oh, well, you haven't played Smash Brothers 4 or Mario Kart 8 or Super Mario 3D World or Bayonetta 2. There's actually a lot of great games on it. In Nintendo Land is fantastic. But it's one of those games where if you're playing with friends, it's fantastic. Me and my kids have put like lots of hours in Nintendo Land. I'll tell you that. Like they learned how to game on that thing.
Huh.
It's a really fun compilation. But certainly, like going back now, like I wouldn't say like you got to go back and play a Wii U. You missed out on so much. Like in hindsight, that's not something I'm going to be preaching.
Okay, so it's okay for me to play Pikmin 3 on the Switch.
Yes, it's okay. But having done it
Not
both
ideal.
ways, it's not the same because it is one of those
Oh.
few places where having that gamepad like makes it better. It really does. Because the game is all about,
Okay.
you know, it's a real-time strategy game, effectively, and you're moving these 3 little characters around, and they're all doing things, and you can use the map on your lap to tell them where to go and what to do, and so they go and automatically do that, and then you control another one directly, so like it helps a lot. And I'm sure they have ways to do it, but really like the most cumbersome way was the best way. I had a Wii U on the lap and a Wii remote and nunchuck in my hands, and so like and it sounds crazy, but like it was the best. And me and my wife played that way. And she was like, "Wow, it's hard to play without the thing in your lap." I was like, "Yeah, I guess they were sort of onto something." You know. They were really good at devising ways that made you have to use more hands than a human has, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I look for in my ideal gameplay.
Yeah. Well, there were times they went beyond what I was cool with. So, like, everyone rags on Star Fox Zero, and I am included in that because I love the Star Fox series. Love the first one the most. But then Star Fox Zero, they had it so the TV was one view and the gamepad was another view, and you had to aim with the gamepad but still control. And I was like, this is too much. I feel like it makes me feel stupid because I don't have enough sub-processors to like handle all the things it wants me to do. Yeah.
I wonder though if like it's a generational thing, like if like maybe if the children's had grown up with all of these many devices and working through this game, if the Wii U had better sort of market penetration, they would have been like, yeah, I'm all over this shit. They can figure it out.
Maybe, but like determining, like seeing how many people crash when they're on texting on their phones right now, like I kind of think like
Fair.
maybe there's a threshold
Yes.
to which the human mind really can't do on a regular basis.
Okay, I think maybe there is. I wonder how we can push that. But lead poisoning. Okay, wait. This particular thing. So I got it. We're limited by environmental factors. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I thought you were about to dive in on the merits of lead poisoning, and I would have been fascinated to hear that.
I know. I wish I could. I wish I had that sort of knowledge, but unfortunately, the lead poisoning.
Yeah.
So
I heard
Uh-oh.
that the Romans used to use lead to sweeten their wine.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
but like, their like I can't imagine what they're, if the tiniest amounts of lead are really that severe, then like, what were all these people like? Were they just like non-functional or?
Well, I believe like one of the theories about the fall of the Roman Empire is that the lead poisoning led to everybody making bad decisions and just kind of being dummies. And so
Word.
it made them susceptible to invasion and made their leaders make bad decisions. This is sort of probably tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, realm, but like it's
I don't think it's tinfoil.
it's lead.
I mean, yeah.
It's a heavy helmet.
It's a one. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure that theory is legit though, because lead poisoning, my understanding of oh my god, we're talking about lead poisoning. I'm like, my understanding of it is that like you don't necessarily show any symptoms until much later after exposure.
Right. Oh, it takes a long time.
And yeah, and then they're like, oh wait, you must have been exposed to lead at some point. And then they're like, yeah, but like think about how life expectancies have changed since then. So yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Cool, lead.
It's so delicious. Yum, 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 yum.
I gotta say, when you brought up lead, I just had bringing it back to games. I had like a give me, give me. I had this instinctual reaction, like I need lead because I always need lead to create ammo in Fallout 76. I cannot get enough of it. And what I find hilarious is like I'm always looking for lead, and you can, deconstruct objects that you pick up in world to get lead. And the most consistent objects that I can get lead from are paint, like paint cans, and children's toys. I love that. It's like, oh, like a squeaky stuffed rocket toy or anything. So I'm looking for children's toys.
I
all
enjoy
the
the dark humor that the game developers put into that. Then that's great.
I think it like I told my husband about it, and even he was amused. So take that.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's funny because I'm feeling the same way about No Man's Sky because there's lead elements in that game as well. We're both playing crafting games that are making us think of elements in different ways.
Yes. And children's toys as a viable resource.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dave, did you ever get into any crafting games over the decade they've been popular?
Crafting.
Minecraft.
Bounced off that trash.
I think there was probably the most into crafting I got was in Final Fantasy 12. I think there was like a light crafting element where it's like you didn't just get cool stuff from monsters, they would just like leave behind like random bits, and then like that was the dopamine hit of like you found a new thing, you don't know what it does, and you go to the shop and it's like, oh, you can like turn this into a new weapon. You're like, yes. But yeah, I think like my break from games kind of like coincided with that trend. But so like I understand the appeal, but I guess none of the games that I've been into have really gotten too much into that component.
Yeah, and I think it goes hand in hand with survival games, right? Survival games are all about crafting and stuff, and they're not necessarily one of the same, but they often are. Yeah.
I'm gonna name some games that I think are pretty terrific, and then you tell me if you even tried them. Skyrim.
Oh yeah, I played Skyrim. Yeah, wait. I guess like weapons and armor and stuff. Yeah.
That's one I wouldn't like consider a crafting game, but it has a crafting element. And I gotta say, when I got into like the part where they're like, "Here's the crafting table," and all, I bounced off that. I was like, I just wanna, I wanna go shout at things. Yeah.
Oh, I was just like, I'm gonna make all these daggers until I fucking max out.
The blacksmith. Yeah.
Yes. And okay, here's another one. Subnautica.
Nope, didn't play that one.
Oh.
I kind of prefer more fantasy-esque games than like sci-fi future. Though I know that one reviewed really well.
It's a funny game. It's a scary game, and also a very beautiful game. I'm surprised that Chris hasn't played it because he likes aquatic life.
I do. No, I've played it some, and I did enjoy what I played. But like I only got so many cycles in the day. Unfortunately, I would love to devote some more to it. Yeah. It should be super up my alley.
Yeah, I would think you'd be all about it. I think there's like new updates. I haven't played in a long time, but it's just I got so into it. Yeah, maybe there's a second one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe there's also like a crafter, like creator mode where it's not as scary. Because like sometimes it's like I've been trying to lug this stuff and I found like this very special place. I don't want to spoil anything. And like horrible unnamed animal creature will destroy me, and it's just devastating.
Yeah, here's an issue that I kind of bounced off of, and maybe you can help me out. But like I felt like I was tied to my initial capsule so hard that I couldn't explore like I wanted to. Like I was like, okay, I can make like these snorkels that I can put up in the sky and bring down, but then you run out of length of the snorkel, and you're like, well, now I got to go all the way back to my stupid pod. Is that alleviated at some point in the game? Like, do you get to move the pod, or do you get to be more mobile in some way?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then no, that's all I need to know. Just knowing that is an element that's alleviated later makes me want to play more.
Yes, because as you play more, you will discover new things that you can build and new ways in which you can address some of the issues that you're
Cool.
encountering.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Yes. And it's fascinating when you get out there and start exploring. It's like, what is happening? Have you already spoiled yourself for how that ends?
No, not at all.
Okay, never mind, because it's hilarious.
Did you have any other survival crafty games that you were going to mention?
Sorry, no, I got stuck on Subnautica and my mind went blank.
And then you were just like, undersea creatures.
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's deadly. Look at these fish. I love to hold them in my hand. What about Animal Crossing?
No, yeah, I didn't do that one either.
Oh, wow.
It's a little too. It seemed kind of twee, you know.
Yeah. Well, and
Wow.
I actually didn't jump into it for not the exact same reason, but my whole family was playing it because that came out. The newest one came out during the pandemic, and it was a lot of people's like, I don't know, their medicine, for lack of a better term.
It was.
And my family, like,
An escape.
my daughter and my wife were both in it hard, and they played it like crazy, and they were like, "Why don't you play? Come in here." And I was just like, I don't know that I want my life to be eaten by that right now. But I get the appeal. Like, it looks like a lot of fun.
It really was a lot of fun. And I was never really into Animal Crossing, and I got into it because all my friends are playing it, and gosh, the turnip frenzies that you get into, and it was exciting. It was a fun time, and also it was like nice to be part of a shared global experience. Like there's a subreddit, I probably still there, where you can learn about where people have really good turnip prices. Comes time to sell your turnips, and like people will send you links to their places, and it's a good time. It was a nice time.
Yeah, I think I'm also like on like simpatico with Chris, where it's like there's just so much stuff in life that I want to do that I can't commit to perpetual games. Like there's ones that are really pretty, like Cozy Grove looks really cool, and a couple other like similar games, but just with like artistically I want to play the game just because the art looks so good. But I just know that I can't make those things priorities.
Well, I will just shout out to Cozy Grove because the makers of that are friends of the vodcast and in our Project Slack. Yeah, good people who made that game.
You make
and it
a
is
really
adorable.
pretty looking game.
Beautiful looking games. Yeah. Wonderful. Anywho, yeah, that I also tried Cozy Grove, but I was like, nope. Like, Don't Starve.
Oh yeah, that was another. I remember that one.
I played a little bit
No
of that with some friends.
I was like hardcore into that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like
you were one of the friends I played it with, right?
Yes, we played it together. Hooray. Don't Starve together.
Yes.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. I tried playing once, I think, with Ben, and he was like, "What's over here?" And then he died, and was like not playing anymore. I'm like, "No, you have to eat stuff." And he's like, "No, I don't want to." It's a fun gamer.
Does Ben play video games?
Not really. He when we had he had like a recording place or studio, I guess, and like in the booth they had a Nintendo 64, so he would play like some Mario Kart 64, pretty decent. He would play he used to play NBA Live, which was an EA game, and then it went away for a while, and then 2K was too hard. I don't know if you guys played that game. It's like the free throws are like, what? I don't understand. But he used to play like sports games, and if there's a good blops out, he'll play Call of Duty. And actually, he's pretty good at Call of Duty.
Yeah, no, you guys, you played Call of Duty together a good amount, it sounded like.
A lot. Like, that's what we would do. And we'd say, you want to play game? And then we're like, yeah. And then we just go play game. And the game was Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, it's not something he would do on his own. It's something he does to spend time with me, which I appreciate. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. A lot of couples don't have that, Marie. So
yeah,
you cherish it.
Like my wife, like she didn't have video games growing up. So like anything where there's a time element, she like kind of freaks out. You know, like any
Aw.
sort of action adventure game, like even if a little enemy is like, she's like, oh god, oh god.
The anxiety kicks in.
Aw. How about turn-based? Would she like turn-based?
Maybe she also gets bored very easily. We played. There's a couple like co-op puzzle games that we've played together, and she'll play those. But yeah, it's hard to find something she really gets into. But my son, who's 2.5 now, I'm starting to like. He can't play games, but I'm just introducing him to the concept. Which maybe this is irresponsible parenting. I don't know.
No.
But it's like if it's like between getting him addicted to unboxing videos and playing video games, I'll choose video games. He's tried to like hit that on YouTube. I'm like, nope, that's bad. Shutting it down. Anywho, so I booted up the Link's Awakening remake on the Switch, and like if you're familiar with Link's Awakening, there's a little chain chomp like in the building, or in the starting town, and he's like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, that's a silly dog. And he's like, I like the silly dog. So we're just like running around, and then afterwards he's like, I want to see silly dog again. So like I just got a Art of Mario Odyssey book. And so I opened it up and I found like chain chomps, and he was like flipping through the pages and like trying to find silly dogs. So I'm starting him young.
That's fantastic.
That's the way. I fully support it. One thing that I don't know if it's okay for me to say this, but when hiring for roles, like I'm hiring right now, I love it when gamers apply, because to my mind, these are people who pursue challenges, who pursue puzzles, want to be challenged, and then somehow overcome them. I don't know if this is so much true of like this current batch of what are very popular games for young people, but I've always thought games really help people in so many ways. And I don't think they're necessarily bad for children developmentally. In fact, research has shown that like spatial awareness is improved among young people who have been exposed to games, especially like if you're navigating a map or going through things. Understanding or inferring a layout of a place is better for people who done games. And then like short-term memory can be improved as well, because you have to remember like where you are, what's in your inventory, things like that. So I think it's a positive thing to expose him young to games, even if it's just a silly dog for now.
Yeah,
I support it.
I fully concur, and I mean I'm living it. I got kids, 2 kids older than yours, and coming up gaming, like they actually pay attention very well, and they are getting better at like setbacks and just like understanding technology. Like this is something that I've noticed. I always assumed like, oh, like I'm really into technology, and the kids after me who are growing up with all this technology around them, they'll be even better. That has not panned out. That is one of the things I know Marie and I have discussed this in the past. Was like, kids are most of them are kind of trash at technology because they're giving this like shiny thing, and they they touch things on a touch screen and things happen, and they're like cool, but they have no idea what it's doing or why it's doing it. But I feel like when you expose them to games, especially console games, PC games, like they get it a little bit more. And like right back here, you'll see all these computers. So one of the proudest moments of my life as a father is I've been teaching the kids to play, and they play Minecraft on all these machines. They play that a lot. And one day my kid went over to another kid's house, and I was like, yeah, we were playing Minecraft. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And how'd it go? She's like, it was all right, but it just wasn't as good without a keyboard and mouse. And I was like, that's my girl. Yep.
I have a quick question about your story.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I noticed something. When you said you're into technology, you kind of went like this and tapped at your tummy.
Yeah.
And is that where technology lives? And I'm not making a joke or anything, because it's like I've noticed that some people, when they say "who, me," they'll point to their chest. And when I say who me, I'll point to my face
Oh,
because like I think of like this is where I am.
yeah.
And I was just wondering if that's where technology lives to
No,
you.
to me, it is definitely inside of me. Like I feel like it's a core component, and like,
That's so cool.
um, yeah, that's probably not super healthy, but it is what it is. Yeah.
I like it. I think that's neat because technology is like, oh, to
And I
me.
really like
So, yeah.
understanding how it works specifically. Like I like understanding the principles and taking it apart and trying to put it back together. I sound like a commercial for a technical school on daytime TV. But yeah, that's the stuff I really get into.
Have
I
you?
want to. Oh,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I used to take apart Xbox 360s a lot
Nice.
because I remember I did that whole thing on Flickr back in the day where I would just like take it apart piece by piece to avoid red rings. Anywho, my thing that I find pretty terrific is taking apart, cleaning, and reassembling locks.
Ooh.
Like we had a sticky lock at our front door in our old house, and I just would love taking it apart and cleaning it and then putting it back
I
together.
love that.
Just a thing. I guess that's a technology, but it's
Oh,
not the tech
dude,
that
that
I'm.
is hard into like autistic hacker tech like territory. Like, and I love it. That is.
It's just neat to see all the parts going together. I think.
I've never
Yeah.
done that, but now
Yeah.
now you're making me think about it. Like I've
Well, if you ever have a sticky
yeah,
lock,
I've dabbled in
take
lock
it apart.
picking, but I've never taken one apart.
Ooh. No, take it apart. Then you'll be better
I
lock
think I
picker.
would be.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you,
Oh,
Gabe. Don't.
sorry to to backtrack. I wanted to ask Chris if his kids play older games. Like there's a streamer I watch who's like I think his oldest is 7, and his strategy is like age gate them by system. So they start with the SNES and they have to graduate their way through the Switch, because if they start with Breath of the Wild, they'll never play, Link to the Past.
Yes. So I thought about this. It's definitely something I considered. I was like, oh, like it makes sense. Like you got to bring them up so that they understand the steps that it took to get to where we are today. It did not pan out in reality. So we did start them like I started them on the NES, which is a similar place to where I started. And it was like, hey, we played Mario 1, and like they understood the jump button and then jumping on a Goomba, and like I was very proud the day that they killed their first Goomba on Mario 1. I was like, oh, this is a milestone. But then I thought about like, if I was to gate them like by decade, by era, and by age, like it would be kind of like, I don't know, those kids who are like real into like the Doors in the 90s. Like it's like, hey, my parents like raised me on vinyl and like all that, like hipster, like proto hipsters, and then they can't relate to the modern world so well. And I don't want the kids to relate to my generation. I want them to relate to their own generation and perhaps be informed by like, the classics, the things that are coming up. They have access to it all. But yeah, so I tried like a hybrid. They play mostly modern games, but at this point, like they still spend a ton of time on Minecraft, and Minecraft came out before they were born. And like it's changed, but not a ton.
I don't know. Redstone engineering, like, because I played in like way Redstone engineering, and we've talked about it before. That is next level. I'm just like, I just couldn't make it through the night one time. I was punching trees. So I think it has come a long way, but we'll see. I was asking when I ask, like, teaching children lessons with games. Do you give them roguelikes? Because I feel like that would be like, I was reading a thing about how a lot of people modern adults struggle with like emotional regulation. And I feel like playing like a roguelike would really help with that. Or it's just like, okay, hey, I'm starting over.
I just force you to
I'm
like
gonna try to
plow through that executive dysfunction, right?
Yeah, right.
Like I've only finished like 1 or 2 roguelikes, but I like the reason that I play games is for like narrative and storytelling and like exploration, and I feel like those things are almost like structurally opposed to roguelikes because like the Hades was a good example of a roguelike that had
strong
a
narrative.
consistent narrative. Whoa, what was that face, Marie?
Somebody's been at me to play Hades
I've
for a while.
Gotcha. But the thing is, like, just because the modular way that they're constructed, like, you can't, like, there are no like special places per se, right? Like an old Zelda Zelda game, like you find like some ruins, like someone specifically designed that one place. It won't appear anywhere else, and like the way it's arranged feels like very purposeful and yeah, very purposeful. Whereas like when I play roguelikes, it just feel or rogues or roguelikes, yeah, they just feel like kind of generic and homogenous, and so no one place feels more special or interesting than the other. So I tend to bounce off them pretty regularly.
That makes sense.
I mean, for me,
yeah, you go, Marie.
Sorry.
Final thought.
Well, I was thinking like of like Binding of Isaac, which is a game that Chris got me into, and you know, when I've experienced things that were totally unique, that to me triggered that sense of discovery, right? And like, oh, I'll never get back to this, you know, or wow, what a, you know, just what a cool arrangement of things that is totally unique to my situation now. Like I would like take pictures on my phone and then send them to Chris of like, look at this. I typically don't pursue that kind of gameplay because I'm not great at executive function, and I'm like, I'm mad and that sucks and I wasted all afternoon doing this. But it did trigger some of that sense of discovery for me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
yeah, loss aversion, that's another thing too. I hate losing progress in the game. I hate it. That's why I can't. One of the reasons I can't play Souls-like games.
Yeah.
Well, also because they're meaninglessly too hard. I mean, I guess like there's like great lore behind them, but it's like, why are they so hard? It's mean. Life is hard. I've got enough of it.
Well,
I don't need more challenges.
I think we got to get back to ours.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you guys for jumping in. Thank you for listening. And yeah, it's encouraging that we're diving into this. I feel like we could talk for hours and hours more, so we will next week. How's that sound?
Woohoo!
All right, guys. Have a good time. I'll see you.
Whoops. Bye.